Aaron moved slowly through the broken walls of the old Earth archive. Dust fell from the cracked ceiling as he pushed aside heavy stones. The place had been forgotten for decades. Once it held records of the early human expansion into space, but now it was nothing more than ruins. The Great Wars had burned most of the archives, leaving only ash and shadows of history. Aaron was not a soldier. He was not a scholar either. He called himself a seeker. While most people searched for ways to survive on crowded colonies, Aaron searched for answers. He had always believed there were secrets hidden in the past that could change the future. That belief had brought him here. His small lamp shone on the floor, where broken shelves lay in piles. He bent down and brushed away the dirt. Under the rubble was a flat stone tile. Strange markings were carved into it, sharp and clear even. After centuries, Aaron frowned. They were not in any human script he had seen before. He pressed his hand against the tile. To his surprise, the stone shifted and slid back, revealing a hidden compartment. Inside was a thin metallic sheet, folded carefully as if someone had left it there on purpose. Aaron lifted it out with both hands. It was heavier than it looked. When he unfolded it, light flickered across its surface, forming a three-dimensional map of stars. Aaron's eyes widened. He recognized some of the constellations, but the map stretched far beyond known space. At its center was a glowing mark shaped like a crown. He whispered to himself, "What is this?" Before he could study it further, he heard a sound behind him. A voice echoed in the ruined hall. "You should not be touching that, human." Aaron spun around. In the shadows stood three tall figures, their eyes glowing faintly in the dark. They were not human. Their skin shone like silverstone, and their movements were graceful but tense. Aaron had seen their kind before, though only from afar. They were called Veyari, an ancient race of scholars who traveled between stars to collect knowledge. The tallest of them stepped forward. His voice was calm, yet filled with warning. "Give us the map. It does not belong to you. This place was meant to stay hidden." Aaron tightened his grip on the metallic sheet. He felt an unusual warmth from it, almost as if it wanted to stay. With him, his mind raced. Why would aliens care about something buried in an old human ruin? He asked carefully, "What is this map? Why is it hidden here, on Earth?" The Veyari leader's eyes narrowed. "It points to a sanctuary that no living being should enter. Long ago, kings who ruled not only men but many worlds locked their secrets away there. They were dangerous. They were eternal. If you follow that path, you will awaken things that should remain asleep." Aaron's heart beat faster. Kings who ruled many worlds. Was this the same legend he had heard in old campfire stories, tales of eternal kings who once guided humanity before time erased their names? He wanted answers. But the aliens looked ready to strike. "I cannot give it to you," Aaron said firmly. "If this is part of human history, I must know the truth." The Veyari exchanged glances. One of them hissed in frustration. The leader lifted his hand, glowing with energy. "You do not understand. The sanctuary rejects all but its chosen. If you try to claim it, you will bring ruin on yourself and others. Do not make us take it by force." Aaron's instincts screamed at him to run. He quickly folded the sheet and slipped it into his pack. The moment he did, the map dimmed and became silent, as if waiting for him. He dashed toward a side passage he had cleared earlier. The Veyari gave chase, their steps light yet fast. Aaron's lungs burned as he pushed himself through the narrow tunnel. Stones crumbled around him, and dust filled the air. He did not stop until he burst out into the night air, where his small shuttle waited. He threw himself inside and sealed the hatch. Through the window, he saw the three Veyari emerge. From the ruins, their glowing eyes fixed on him. One of them raised a hand, and a beam of light shot toward his shuttle. Aaron powered the engines just in time, and the shuttle lifted off. the beam slicing across the ground where he had been. The stars opened before him as he rose higher. His hands trembled, but his mind burned with questions. What was the sanctuary? Why did the map respond to him and not the Veyari? If kings of the past had hidden their legacy there, then perhaps humanity had a history far greater than anyone believed. As the shuttle broke through the atmosphere, Aaron knew his life had just changed. He was no longer a seeker of ruins. He was the bearer of a key that both humans and aliens feared. And deep inside, a strange feeling grew, a sense that the sanctuary was already calling to him. The journey had only begun. Aaron sat in the pilot's seat of his shuttle, breathing hard as the planet shrank behind him. His hands shook slightly, but he forced himself to stay calm. He looked down at his pack, where the folded metallic sheet rested. Even without touching it, he felt its presence, as if it had become a part of him. The stars stretched out in front of him. For a moment, he allowed himself to believe he had escaped, but then the alarm rang. The ship's sensors lit up, flashing red. 3 ships were rising fast from the atmosphere of Earth. The Veyari had brought their own vessels, sleek and sharp like silver arrows. Aaron cursed under his breath and pushed the shuttle forward. His small craft was old and not built for battle, but he knew a few tricks. He had worked as a cargo pilot once, and smugglers had taught him how to escape patrols. The Veyari ships closed in quickly, their engines burning with blue light. A voice crackled through the comms. It was the leader of the Veyari. His tone was calm but commanding. "Human, listen well. Hand over the map and we will not harm you. You do not understand the danger you carry." Aaron leaned toward the mic. "You keep saying it's dangerous, but you won't explain why. That tells me it's something important." "I'm not giving it up." Silence followed for a moment. Then, the alien's voice returned, colder than before. "Then you leave us no choice." The first beam of energy sliced past his shuttle, making the whole craft shake. Aaron gripped the controls tightly. His heart pounded, but his mind cleared. He had survived tight corners before, and he would survive. He pulled the shuttle into a sharp dive, heading toward a field of drifting asteroids nearby. The rocks floated silently in the void, leftovers of a shattered moon. The Veyari ships followed close behind, their beams flashing like angry lightning. Aaron twisted and rolled, slipping between the massive stones. His ship's hull scraped against a rock, making sparks fly. The warning lights flared, but the engines kept running. He smiled despite the fear pressing on him. Human ships were not elegant like Veyari vessels, but they were tough. They could take hits and keep moving. The aliens fired again, but the beams struck the asteroids instead, breaking the rocks into clouds of dust and fragments. Aaron used the dust clouds as cover, switching off his main lights and gliding silently between shadows. His breath slowed as he waited. One Veyari ship passed close by, scanning the area. Aaron held his breath and cut power for a moment, letting his shuttle drift. The alien ship swept past, not noticing him. When it was gone, Aaron reignited the engines and shot out of the asteroid field. For a short while, he had a lead. But he knew they would find him again. They were stronger, faster, and they wanted the map more than anything. Aaron's mind raced. He needed a plan. He opened the metallic sheet again. The glowing star map rose into the air, filling the cockpit with soft light. His eyes followed the patterns. The glowing crown symbol pulsed slowly, like a beating heart. He traced the route leading from Earth to the mark. It pointed far into uncharted space, past the borders of any human colony. He whispered, "So that's where you want me to go." The map responded by glowing brighter, as if agreeing. Aaron felt a strange calm settle over him. For the first time, he sensed that the sanctuary was not just a place. It was waiting for him. Suddenly, the comms sparked again. A new voice spoke, different from the Veyari leader. This one was softer, almost curious. "Human, do you know what you carry?" "That map does not just show stars. It chooses who can walk the path. We have tried for centuries, but the gate never opened for us. Why do you think it awakened for you?" Aaron hesitated. He did not know the answer, but he understood one thing: the Veyari could not be trusted. If they had failed to claim the sanctuary, then they feared what might happen if a human succeeded. He turned off the comms and set his course. His ship rattled as it jumped into faster-than-light travel, leaving Earth behind. The stars stretched into long trails, and the sound of the engines filled the silence. For hours, he sat alone, watching the map glow on the console. His thoughts turned to the stories his grandmother once told him about kings who had ruled before. Time was counted. He had laughed at them then, thinking they were only myths. Now he wondered if she had been passing down a truth that most had forgotten. He closed his eyes for a moment, letting the hum of the engines steady him. When he opened them, the sensors flashed again. The Veyari ships had followed even into faster-than-light space. They were not giving up. Aaron tightened his grip on the controls. Fear was there, but so was determination. He was only one man in an old shuttle, but he had something they did not. The map had chosen him. That meant he had a chance, however. Small, to reach the sanctuary first. He whispered to himself, "You wanted a life of discovery, Aaron. Now you have it. Don't waste it." The chase was not over. It was only beginning. The stars stretched endlessly before Aaron as his shuttle moved deeper into the uncharted reaches of space. Days passed, though he barely counted them. He lived by the glow of the map, which hovered over his console like a steady flame. Each time he checked, the path grew shorter, the crown symbol pulling him forward, but he was not alone. The Veyari ships stayed on his trail. Sometimes they appeared on his sensors for a few hours, then disappeared into silence, only to return again later. Aaron felt like a small animal being watched by predators. Still, he pushed forward, knowing he had little choice. Finally, the map pulsed with a brighter light. The sanctuary was near. Aaron leaned forward in his seat as the shuttle approached a vast, lifeless star system. At the center of it floated a structure that made him catch his breath. It was not a planet or a moon. It was a gate. The gate of stone and light stretched across space like a broken ring. Massive blocks of black stone floated in a perfect circle, each one carved with glowing patterns of gold. Between them shimmered streams of light, flowing like rivers across the void. It looked ancient, far older than anything Aaron had ever seen. His shuttle felt like a grain of dust compared to its size. Aaron whispered, "So this is the entrance." As he drew closer, the Veyari ships appeared again, sliding out of the shadows of distant asteroids. They surrounded him in silence. There, sleek silver hulls gleaming against the darkness. The leader's voice came through the comms once more. "Human, this is where your journey ends. The gate is not for you. Turn back, and perhaps we will allow you to live." Aaron shook his head, though they could not see him. His eyes stayed on the great ring ahead. "If it wasn't for me, the map wouldn't have opened this path. It wants me here. Maybe it wants humanity here." The Veyari leader's voice grew sharper. "You think too highly of yourself. That gate has stood sealed for thousands of years. We have studied it. We have sacrificed lives to enter, but it does not answer. Do you truly believe a single human can do what entire races could not?" Aaron set his jaw. "Maybe that's exactly what I believe." The Veyari ships moved closer, forming a wall between him and the gate. Aaron's shuttle trembled as he pushed the engines harder. The map flared with sudden light, casting a golden glow across his cockpit. It was almost as if the sanctuary itself was urging him forward. The Veyari fired warning shots, beams flashing past his ship. Aaron swerved, weaving through the danger. He headed straight toward the glowing circle. His shuttle shook from the force of speed, alarms crying out, but he refused to slow down when he reached the edge of the gate. The golden streams of light brightened. The carved symbols on the stone blocks began to shift and turn, glowing brighter with each passing second. Aaron held his breath as the metallic sheet floated out of his pack, rising into the air on its own. It pulsed once, twice, then released. A soft tone that filled the cockpit. The light on the gate responded. For the first time in thousands of years, the gate of stone and light stirred to life. The golden streams swirled faster, weaving into a solid curtain of energy across the circle. The Vayari ships froze in their tracks. Aaron could hear their voices through the comms, filled with shock and fear. It answers him. The human opened. That should not be possible. The sanctuary rejects all. Aaron's heart pounded. The gateway stretched before him, alive and open. He gripped the controls and pushed his shuttle through. The golden light washed over the hull, and for a moment everything went silent. He felt a warmth spread through his body, as if unseen hands were guiding him. Then, just as quickly, the light passed, and his ship emerged into a place unlike anything he had known behind him. The gateway closed again, sealing the Vayari out. Aaron floated inside a hidden space, a pocket of reality apart from the stars. The sky glowed with soft silver light, and vast structures rose in the distance. Towering pillars, endless bridges, and floating halls shimmered like dreams made real. The sanctuary was not just a building. It was a whole world, built for something greater than ordinary life. Aaron's hands trembled as he stared in awe. His small shuttle felt unworthy of touching such a place. He whispered to himself, "So it's real. The sanctuary of kings." He guided the shuttle forward slowly, afraid that even the engines might disturb the silence. The air shimmered outside, and strange lights danced across the sky. He saw statues larger than mountains, each carved in the shape of human figures wearing crowns. Their eyes glowed faintly, watching him as he entered. Aaron's chest tightened. He thought of the Vayari words about how no one had ever passed the gate. Yet here he was, an ordinary man with nothing but a seeker's heart and an old shuttle, now standing at the doorstep of forgotten kings. He felt both fear and pride. Somewhere deep inside, he knew this was only the beginning. The sanctuary had opened for him, but why? Was it chance or was it destiny? The map, still glowing on the console, pulsed brighter than ever before, guiding him deeper into the world of the lost. Aaron guided his shuttle across the silver sky of the hidden world. His eyes were wide as he tried to take in everything around him. Towers rose from the ground like blades of crystal, and bridges stretched between them without support. Rivers of light flowed above the ground, moving slowly as if they were alive. The place felt more like a dream than a world. He landed the shuttle on a wide platform carved from smooth stone. The moment his boots touched the surface, the ground glowed, faintly under his steps, as though the sanctuary itself recognized his presence. Aaron froze, his breath caught in his throat. The place was responding to him, just as the gate had. He looked around, his pack on his back and the folded metallic sheet safely inside. The statues of crowned figures rose in the distance, each one so large that their heads touched the glowing clouds. Their eyes seemed to follow him as he walked. Aaron felt both small and honored under their gaze. He whispered to himself, "This is not just a tomb. It's alive." The air carried no sound of wind, no chirping of creatures, only a soft hum that seemed to come from the walls and stones themselves. Aaron moved forward slowly, his footsteps echoing. He reached the entrance of a massive hall. Its doors were already open, as if waiting for him. Inside, the hall stretched endlessly. Golden walls reflected the silver light, and the ceiling arched. so high that Aaron felt dizzy looking up. Along the walls stood tall thrones carved of stone, each holding the shape of a crown above it. The thrones were empty, but the crowns glowed faintly, as if preserving the memory of their rulers. Aaron walked carefully between them. He felt like an intruder, yet also like someone expected. He could not explain the feeling, but it was there. Strong and steady dot at the center of the hall was a great table made of crystal. On it lay scrolls of light, floating above the surface. Aaron touched one gently. The scroll unrolled itself, showing moving images. He gasped as he saw scenes of ancient battles, human kings standing with crowns of light, leading armies of many species across the stars. Alien soldiers marched beside human warriors, following the command of their crowned leaders. Aaron's heart raced. The legends were true. Humanity had once ruled with others, not through fear, but through leadership that bound many worlds together. The eternal kings had been real. Suddenly a voice spoke, though no figure stood near him. It echoed across the hall, deep and steady. Bearer of the map, you have come. Aaron froze. His eyes darted around, but he saw no one. The crowns on the thrones glowed brighter. He realized the voice was not coming from a person, but from the sanctuary itself. He swallowed hard. Who are you? The voice answered, We are the memory of the kings. Their crowns hold their thoughts, their wisdom, their warnings. For ages we have waited. For ages the gates stayed closed. Now you are here. Aaron's hands trembled. Why me? I'm not a king. I am just a man. The crowns pulsed with light, filling the hall with golden glow. You are human, that is enough. The kings built this place not for power but for guidance. Only humanity could awaken it again. Others tried, but the sanctuary does not open for them. Aaron's heart pounded. 1,000 questions filled his mind, but before he could ask them, the hall shifted. The golden walls began to bend and stretch. The thrones and crowns faded into mist. Aaron stepped back, alarmed, but the voice continued. Before you walk deeper, you must be tested. The sanctuary opens only to those worthy of its truth. The light around him grew brighter. Then everything vanished. Aaron blinked and found himself standing in a different place. The hall was gone. Instead, he was back on Earth, standing in the ruins of his childhood home. The air smelled of dust and fire. Just as it had the night his family had lost everything. He heard voices calling his name, voices from his past. Aaron realized what was happening. The sanctuary was showing him his own memories. It was testing him through his fears. He clenched his fists. If you want me to prove myself, then I will. I faced my past before. I'll face it again. The scene shifted once more. His home crumbled away, replaced by the faces of the Veari who had chased him. They surrounded him, their eyes glowing, their weapons raised. But Aaron noticed something different. Their faces were not filled with anger, but with doubt, as if they were not sure whether to strike or kneel. The voice echoed again. Do you meet fear with flight or with courage? Do you meet doubt with strength or with despair? Aaron stood tall, even though the image of the aliens towered over him. I am only one man, but I will not run. If this place chose me, then I will walk forward, no matter the cost. The illusion shattered like glass. Aaron gasped as he found himself back in the golden hall, standing before the circle of glowing crowns. They pulsed with warm light, brighter than before. The voice spoke once more, softer now. The first trial is past. Walk deeper, seeker of truth. The sanctuary accepts your steps. Aaron's chest rose and fell as he caught his breath. His fear was still there, but it no longer controlled him. The sanctuary was alive, and it was guiding him forward. He tightened his grip on the pack and looked toward the deeper passageways of light. The journey into the heart of the eternal kings had only just begun. Aaron walked slowly through the golden hall, his eyes fixed on the glowing crowns. Each pulse of their light seemed to guide him toward a narrow passage behind the thrones. He felt his heart pound harder as he stepped inside. The air grew cooler, and the hum of the sanctuary changed, now lower and deeper, as if it were watching his every move. The corridor stretched forward, its walls shifting like flowing water. Strange symbols appeared and disappeared across the surface, shining for a moment before fading away. Aaron touched one, but it dissolved under his hand. He realized the sanctuary was alive in ways he still did not understand. After a long walk, he entered a chamber so vast that he could not see the end of it. The floor was made of mirrors, reflecting endless skies, while above him floated a ceiling of swirling light. At the center stood a single stone platform. Aaron stepped onto it, carefully, his boots echoing across the emptiness. The voice of the sanctuary filled the chamber again. "You have seen the memory of kings. Now you must prove yourself worthy to carry even a fragment of their legacy. None may claim the crowns without trial." Aaron took a deep breath. "What do you want me to do?" The chamber shifted. The mirrored floor rippled like water, and suddenly, Aaron was standing in the middle of a battlefield. He could smell smoke, hear the clash of weapons, and feel the heat of fire around him. Soldiers rushed past him, their faces twisted in fear. The sky burned red with flames. Aaron realized the battlefield was not real. It was an illusion, another test. But the fear it created was strong. His body reacted as though it were real. The voice asked, "Will you stand when all others fall? Or will you run from the storm?" A group of shadow-like figures rose before him, shaped like warriors, but with no faces. They raised their weapons and charged toward him. Aaron had no weapon of his own, only his fists and his courage. He braced himself, heart hammering. When the first shadow struck, he dodged and pushed back with all his strength. He fought clumsily, but he refused to fall. Each time a shadow knocked him down, he pulled himself back up. Sweat rolled down his face, his arms ached, but he kept moving. The shadows did not stop, as if testing how much pain and fear he could endure. Aaron shouted through gritted teeth, "I won't give up. If this is the trial, then I'll stand as long as I must." The battlefield shattered like broken glass. He fell to his knees, gasping for air. When he looked up, he was back in the chamber of mirrors. His body carried no wounds, but the exhaustion was real. The voice spoke again. "You endured the storm. Now face yourself." The mirrored floor beneath him rippled again. This time, a figure rose from the reflection. Aaron's breath caught in his throat. The figure was him. It looked exactly like him, but its eyes burned with cold light. The double spoke in his voice. "You think you are worthy of kings, but you are nothing. You are a man who hides in ruins, chasing stories because you cannot build a life of your own." Aaron's fists clenched. He had thought those words before, late at night when doubt consumed him. Hearing them now made his chest tighten. The double stepped closer. "You will fail like all who came before. The sanctuary does not need you. Humanity does not need you." For a moment, Aaron felt the weight of despair press against him. His knees trembled, and the thought of surrender tempted him. But then he remembered the glow of the crowns, the warmth of the gate, and the way the map had chosen him. He remembered the faces in the vision's human kings who had once led armies of many races. He straightened, staring into his own reflection. "You are right about one thing. I am not perfect. I am not strong like those kings were, but I am here. I choose to keep walking. One choose to carry the map, and that is enough." The double froze. Its glowing eyes dimmed, then its body cracked. Like stone. In a burst of light, it vanished into the floor. The chamber fell silent. The voice of the sanctuary returned, calmer now. You faced fear. You faced doubt. This is the trial of worth, and you have passed. The mirrored floor stilled, returning to its calm reflection. The stone platform beneath Aaron glowed brightly. At its center appeared a path of golden light, leading toward a doorway at the far end of the chamber. Aaron rose slowly, his body trembling but his spirit steady. He wiped the sweat from his brow and stepped onto the path. The light carried him forward, each step steady and sure. He felt lighter than before, as if the weight of his fears had fallen away. When he reached the doorway, the golden glow faded. Before him lay another hall, darker than the last, but at its heart floated a circle of crowns, their light stronger than ever. Aaron felt their presence deep in his chest. The voice whispered one last time, "Step forward, bearer of the map." The crowns await. Aaron took a deep breath. He was tired, but determination burned within him. The sanctuary had tested him, and though he was only a single man, he had stood firm. Now, at last, he was ready to face what came next. Aaron stepped into the darker hall, his heart steady but heavy with expectation. The air was cooler here, and shadows stretched across the walls. At the center of the chamber floated the crowns. There were 12 of them, each glowing with a soft, golden fire. They circled slowly around a crystal throne, humming like living hearts. Aaron stopped at the edge of the chamber. His breath caught in his throat as he felt the weight of their presence. The crowns were more than objects. They were alive in some way, filled with the voices and memories of those who had ruled long ago. He could almost hear whispers echoing. In the back of his mind, as he took a step forward, the crowns brightened. The hum grew louder, filling the chamber with deep vibration. Aaron's pack grew warm, and the metallic sheet that carried the map floated into the air again. It hovered between him and the crowns, glowing brighter and brighter until it dissolved into light. The light spread into the circle, as if unlocking something that had waited for ages. The voice of the sanctuary spoke, calm yet powerful. The crowns have slept for 1,000 years. They will awaken only for one who is chosen. Step forward, and they will decide. Aaron's palms were sweaty. His legs trembled, but he forced himself forward. Each step echoed across the chamber, and the crowns tilted toward him like watchful eyes. When he reached the throne, he stopped. He stared at the circle of golden crowns, unsure what to do. He whispered, "I am no king. I have no crown of my own. Why me?" The voice answered, "Because kings are not born from thrones. They are born from choice. You chose courage when fear pressed upon you. You chose hope when doubt whispered in your ear. That is enough." Aaron reached out his hand. One crown broke away from the circle and floated down toward him. Its golden light flared brighter, wrapping around his fingers. For a moment, Aaron thought it would burn him, but instead he felt warmth flow into his body. Visions flooded his mind. He saw great halls filled with kings and queens of the past. He saw battles fought across the stars, humans leading with wisdom rather than fear. He felt the weight of decisions that shaped whole civilizations. His knees buckled, and he fell to the ground, clutching his head. The voices of the kings echoed in his thoughts. "Do not fear the weight. We carried it before you, and we will guide you. You are not alone." The other crowns glowed brighter, their light spinning faster. Aaron lifted his head, his eyes glowing faintly with golden fire. He gasped for air, but he did not collapse. The energy filled him, but it did not crush him. The sanctuary's voice spoke again. "The crowns have awakened. Their knowledge is yours to carry. Use it with wisdom, for many eyes now turn toward you." As the words faded, the chamber shook. Aaron staggered to his feet, gripping the throne for support. From the walls, windows opened to the outside world. Through them, Aaron saw ships entering. The hidden sky, The Vayari had found a way through the gate. Their sleek silver vessels glided toward the sanctuary like blades cutting the horizon. Aaron's chest tightened. The aliens had not given up, and now they were here. The crowns responded before he could panic. Their light expanded, forming a shield of golden energy around the chamber. Aaron felt a surge of strength through his body, as if the crowns themselves were preparing him for what was to come. The Vayari leader's voice rang out, carried through some unseen channel. So it is true. The crowns have accepted you, but you do not deserve them. Give them to us, or we will tear this sanctuary apart. Aaron clenched his fists. He felt the crown's energy flowing in his veins, but he knew this was not a gift of power for his own gain. It was a responsibility. He looked toward the ships and shouted, though his voice was small compared to theirs. The crowns do not belong to you. They belong to humanity, and to all who seek hope, not fear. I will not hand them over. The Vayari ships fired beams of energy at the sanctuary, but the golden shield held firm. The blast dissolved into sparks against the walls of light. Aaron stood tall, the glow of the crown surrounding him. For the first time in his life, he did not feel like a seeker or a wanderer. He felt like a man chosen for something greater. The sanctuary's voice echoed once more. The crowns awaken in times of need. Now you must decide what path to take. Will you fight for yourself, or will you carry the burden for all? Aaron lifted his chin. His heart pounded, but his decision was clear. He had not come this far to turn back. He would not let the sanctuary fall into the hands of those who only feared it. I will carry the burden, he said firmly. Not as a king for power, but as a man who refuses to let hope die. The crowns pulsed with approval, their light blazing like suns. The chamber shook again, but this time it was not from the Vayari attacks. It was the sanctuary itself, rising. In defense of the one it had chosen, Aaron stood in the glow, ready to face what was coming. The golden shield of the sanctuary shimmered as the Vayari ships circled above. Their beams struck again and again, but each attack broke apart against the light of the crowns. Aaron stood at the heart of the chamber, the glow of the 12 crowns, surrounding him like a living fire. He could feel their energy flowing through him, steady and strong, not crushing, but guiding. The voice of the sanctuary spoke inside his mind. The crowns are awake, but their strength is not meant for destruction. Their true power is the will to unite. Show them why humanity was chosen. Aaron took a deep breath. He was only one man in a hall of giants, but he no longer felt small. He stepped forward, and the chamber responded. The walls opened, revealing a balcony that looked over the shining world of the sanctuary. The Vayari ships hovered beyond the shield, ready to strike again. Aaron raised his hand. Golden light poured out, not as a weapon, but as a wave that touched the ships. The light spread across their hulls, soft yet unstoppable. The Vayari weapons fell silent. The ships drifted, caught in the glow. Then the voices of the alien commanders filled the air. What is this? The light reaches us. It is not burning. It is showing us something. Aaron closed his eyes. He felt the crowns guiding him, letting their memories flow through him into the Vayari. Images of the past spread outward visions of human kings and queens, leading not by fear, but by trust. Standing beside alien allies, building peace after wars. The Vayari saw it too. Their voices shook with awe. These are the eternal kings. They were real. They led with honor. They ruled with wisdom. The golden light faded slowly, and silence followed. The Vayari ships did not fire again. Instead, one by one, they lowered their weapons and hovered in stillness. The leader's voice finally spoke, no longer sharp with command but heavy with respect. Human, the crowns have chosen you. We cannot deny what we have seen. Perhaps we feared this sanctuary because we knew we were unworthy of it. But you may carry what we could not." Aaron lowered his hand. His chest rose and fell as he let out a long breath. The crowns glowed softly around him, their fire no longer blinding but calm. He turned his gaze outward, past the sanctuary, to the stars beyond. For the first time, he understood what the kings before him had carried. It was not simply power. It was responsibility. The sanctuary's voice spoke again. "The crowns do not bind you to a throne. They bind you to a promise, to guide, to protect, to remember. Will you accept this path?" Aaron looked down at his hands, still trembling from the weight of everything he had seen. He thought of his past, of the ruins he had searched, of the doubt that had once chained him. He thought of humanity, scattered across colonies, struggling to survive in a vast galaxy, but often saw them as weak. He thought of the kings whose statues still stood, waiting for someone to carry their dream forward. "I accept," he said. His voice was steady, filled with resolve. "I will not rule for power. I will carry the crowns to remind humanity of what we were and what we can be again." The crowns pulsed in unison, and the entire sanctuary shone with golden fire. Statues lit up, rivers of light surged across bridges, and the towers sang with sound like deep bells. It was as if the world itself rejoiced at his choice. The Vayari ships pulled back, not in retreat, but in respect. Their leader's voice spoke once more. "Then go. Human, carry your crown. We will not stop you. Instead, we will watch to see what you make of this gift." Aaron bowed his head slightly, acknowledging the weight of their words. The sanctuary's shield faded, no longer needed. Peace filled the hidden sky. He returned to his shuttle, though he no longer felt like the same man who had entered the ruins on Earth. As he lifted off, the crowns followed, their glow settling into the pack on his back. They did not vanish, but rested, waiting for when they would be needed again. The gate of stone and light opened before him. This time, it did not require the map. It opened freely, as though it now answered to him. Aaron guided his shuttle through, leaving the sanctuary behind. When he emerged into normal space, he saw the stars stretch across the void. They no longer felt like distant lights. They felt like paths waiting to be walked out. Aaron whispered, "Humanity was never lost. We only forgot who we were. It is time to remember." He set his course toward human colonies, carrying with him the awakened crowns and the promise of a new beginning. He knew challenges would come, that many would resist, and that the galaxy was full of dangers. But he also knew he was not alone. The voices of the kings echoed in his mind, guiding him, reminding him that leadership was not about power, but about carrying hope when others could not. Aaron smiled faintly as the engines roared. He was not just a seeker anymore. He was a bearer of crowns, chosen by the sanctuary itself. The first of a new line, not to rule with fear, but to remind humanity of its strength. The journey home had begun, and with it, the return of the king,